My name is Ray Riley. I'm the Victim Assistance Coordinator for Plaquemines.
So we are seeing Ms. Reva Parker. Ms. Parker, would you please introduce yourself with your name and your DOC number?
Hi, my name is Reva Lynn Parker. My DOC number is 776126.
You're before this panel as a first-class offender for a vehicular homicide. You have a parole eligibility date 10/17/2025. You have an adjusted good time date 5/5/2026 and a full term date 9/20/2027. You're serving 5 years and 6 months. Today we do have several people who are joining us for this hearing. We have Robin Parker, your mother, in support. We also have in opposition Debbie Dean, victim's wife, Tamori Tullier, victim's daughter, and Kevin Frederick, family attorney. And thank you, Ms. Ray Riley, with the 25th JDC Victims Group, for also being there in support. At this time, Ms. Parker, I would like to ask you to address this panel and tell us why you find yourself incarcerated today and why we should consider an early release.
To answer your question, I find myself being incarcerated for the crime that I committed with removing Mr. Dean from his family. I'm terribly sorry that I put him in my problem. There's no words that I can say to ever replace Mr. Dean. And I'm truly sorry. I've really been working on my rehabilitation as well as my sobriety. I realized that I shouldn't have taken anybody's life for value. I should have been more thoughtful in my actions.
And why should we consider you for early release?
I feel as though that I should be eligible for early release because I feel as though I still have a chance to prove to the society that I'm able to live a more sober life. I now realize my faults in life. I like who I've become now, the sober Reva. I like the relationships that I've built with my kids, as well as telling other people about my mistakes that I made that I wish that I wouldn't have made. Every night when the lights go out at 10:30, I think of Mr. Dean. Not a day goes by, a Father's Day, a Christmas, a Thanksgiving goes by that I don't think of Mr. Dean and how I ruined his family's life. Not so much of his family life, but my beautiful daughter, that I took my life away from theirs. And I just want to say again, Miss Debbie, and Miss Cheryl, I'm sorry.
You need to speak to us. You're not allowed to speak to them, but thank you for your feelings. So I think at this time, we can hear from the offender's mother. And if you'll let us know what you think about your daughter and her reentry. You still need to unmute.
Mute.
I apologize. Good
That's
morning,
fine.
everyone. Thank you for being here. This is a horrible occasion, yet it can also become a fruitful occasion. My name is Robin Parker. I'm Reva's mother. It's a sad occasion that we're here. Reva have been provided support through me as well as her family, her daughters, because my background is psychology. I have 2 masters and everything but a PhD for clinical psychology. And I'm prepared to have things in place in the event you decide to release Reva early, or whenever Reva is released, Reva will be provided an opportunity to make better of her situation. It's not a all lost cause. I know I'm not allowed to address the family, but I want to extend my condolences to the family and this court for a problem that is taking over society, basically, with drinking as a way to medicate problems.
Well, thank you for being there and supportive. At this time, we will hear from Ms. Debbie Dean, the victim's wife.
Okay, good morning. Thank you. I just want to say that the last 3 years have really been very difficult, and I thank Reva for her condolences. However, the comment of thinking about my husband every night when the lights are turned out, especially for the holidays, I just want to reiterate that knowing how difficult the holidays are, receiving the phone call about this hearing during the Christmas holidays just really threw me in a loop emotionally that I had to go back to counseling. This has been so tragic. It is not easy going on in life without my husband. And today is very difficult. And I really think I forgave Reva. And like I said, I forgave her a long time ago. And I think that we were so very generous with her plea bargaining. And I believe that, the judicial system needs to do what is proper in this case. There is a problem with drinking and driving, especially in Louisiana, but I just want to say there are consequences to the choices that we make. And my prayer is that you will take into consideration the loss that we have felt, not just me, my children, my grandchildren, has been very difficult emotionally, financially. That I just pray that you would take much consideration into the way we feel in our opposition. And I thank you for hearing us.
Thank you. You're a very strong lady. At this time, we can hear from the daughter, Ms. Maury.
I'm with my mom 100%. It has been hard. I mean, with the grandkids talk about their grandpa. This is it's a hard, and everything mom said, I'm with her 100%. We're here to support her, and we're just a strong family. And, we oppose this. This is just, like mom said, we're very lenient to this, but, I think she needs to serve what she deserves. That's just how we feel.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all being with us. I know it's very hard. Now, Kevin Frederick, family friend and attorney.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before the board today. I guess there's 2 points that I'd like to make. And the first is, Ms. Parker's plea arrangement was made after considerable consideration by the family. There was much discussion with the DA's office. Eventually, we did agree to the plea arrangement, which was made, and the sentence which was handed out. However, things might have changed if we had been known or been advised of the potential early release of this date. So that's a consideration that in light of the fact that the family made certain concessions, I believe that needs to be weighed heavily by the board. And the second is, and this is more of an emotional thing, that Ms. Parker is requesting early release, basically early freedom, which unfortunately the family is not going to recognize any freedom from the loss and grief that they had whenever Ms. Parker's sentence is eventually served. So again, echoing the comments made by Debbie, I think it would be important and a very important consideration for the board to think about the loss of that the family has sustained and the fact that they're never going to be free of that loss. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Parker, I have to be honest, in reading your file, when I saw the sentence you received, I was very surprised at how light the sentence was. It's a very light sentence. And to know that it was actually the family who allowed that makes it even more difficult to see you before me today. I wanted to ask, the lieutenant, I'm sorry, are there any programs at your facility, the staff there? Could you answer the question? Are there any programs available to inmates at your facility?
There is a few reentry programs. I do know Ms. Parker has participated in some classes. What? I'm not exactly sure. I just see her in passing in the classes. So there are some reentry, but not heavily for women.
Ma'am, have you gone to any classes?
They offered one computer class that I have never received credit for. They had we have two programs that I completed, one with Discerning the Voice of God, as well as a African American history program that I also never received accreditation for neither.
Those would not qualify for good time days. Ma'am, the state law requires that you have to have 100 hours of pre-release prior to early release. And also, you have not had a state certified substance abuse program, which is a requirement for me to see anybody out. Do my colleagues have any questions? Ms. Renanza, do you have any questions?
I just have a comment for Ms. Riva. Riva, when I look at your record, it is concerning to me when I see a history of domestic abuse incidents and other there was another, I believe, DWI arrest. So I have some serious concerns that I think you need to address through education and programs. Other than that, Ms. Ledoux, I don't have any questions. I want to thank Ms. Dean for her courage to be here today and share the thoughts of her family.
Okay, I just have one or two questions. Approximately how many DWI arrests have you had, Ms. Parker?
The vehicular homicide would have been a second.
In a second. And did you get one like 13 days earlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Were you a bartender? Is that what I read?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, your case concerns me greatly. Greatly. I think you're a risk to public safety without any kind of treatment. My vote today is going to be to deny your parole. It would be hopeful that you would be moved to a facility where you can receive some kind of substance abuse treatment prior to your release on the streets. But my vote's to deny, Mr. Freeman.
My vote is also to deny due to victim opposition and law enforcement opposition. And you do need to get these programs, and I do thank everyone that showed up today.
Oh, I got a question.
Well, my vote, Ms. Ledoux, my vote is also to deny based on the plea agreement that the family agreed to and the opposition that's been expressed today.
Ms. Parker, the time for you to speak is not now. We've already had our interview and you have been denied parole. And you need to learn to cope with that anger that I see. And hopefully you can get that straight if that's not the way to respond to the hearing. So that concludes our business at that facility. It's 11:29 and we are going to be dismissed.
Is 5.5 years a reasonable sentence for vehicular homicide? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and please subscribe for new videos every week.